Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan, coming up in the next 30 minutes. President Draupadi Murmu delivers first ever presidential address to International Solar Alliance Assembly, urges collective global action for affordable and accessible solar energy. Union Cabinet approves terms of reference of 8th Central Pay Commission, recommendations expected by 2026. Cyclone Monta intensifies over Bay of Bengal, expected to make landfall Tuesday evening. Red alert for Andhra Pradesh and Odisha. President Draupadi Murmu today delivered the keynote address at the 8th International Solar Alliance Assembly at Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi, the first ever presidential address to the ISA. The event brings together delegates from 125 countries, reaffirming global commitment to solar cooperation and India's vision of one world, one sun, one grid. India once again shines at the heart of the global solar movement. At the iconic Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi, President of India Draupadi Murmu delivered the keynote address at the 8th Assembly of the International Solar Alliance, marking the first ever presidential address to the ISA, underscoring India's leadership in advancing global solar cooperation and the transformative vision of one world, one sun, one grid proposed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The President called for collective action to ensure affordable and accessible solar energy for all.
Solar energy is a rediscovery of an ancient truth, that is sun is the most democratic source of energy, accessible to all and belonging to none. The Solar for All initiative of the Government of India is based on this concept. Solar energy should not remain confined to the rooftop of the privileged. It should illuminate the homes of the poorest and open new opportunities for every person seeking a livelihood.
Union Minister for New and Renewable Energy and ISA Assembly President Prahlad Joshi said the forum reaffirms global solidarity and South-South cooperation, citing initiatives like $200 million Africa Solar Facility, Sunrise for Solar Waste Recycling and the SIDS platform for island nations.
India is the voice of the global South, and through ISA we are turning that voice into action, helping the nations harness the solar power and shared technology. India's renewable tariffs, be it solar, solar plus battery, and green ammonia, are among the lowest globally. This reflects our ability to combine the scale with the speed and skill to make clean energy affordable.
ISA Director General Ashish Khanna highlighted that the world added its last 1,000 gigawatts of solar capacity in just 2 years, a clear sign of a fast unfolding solar revolution led by the global South.
It took 25 years for the world to reach 1,000 gigawatt of solar, yet in just 2 years, the next 1,000 gigawatt has been reached. And not only that, the projections from all agencies, including ours, IEA and others, reflect that we are likely to double that even further in next 4 years to 4,600 gigawatt.
This year's assembly brings together ministers, policymakers and global partners from 125 member and signatory countries ahead of the crucial COP30 summit in Brazil. With Akshay Dongre, Tapas Bhattacharya's report for DD India. A Union Cabinet chaired by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi approved the terms of reference of 8th Central Pay Commission on Tuesday. Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav said that in January this year, The government had announced formation of the 8th Central Pay Commission to examine and recommend changes in the salaries and other benefits of central government employees. It will revise the salary of nearly 50 lakh central government employees. 8th Pay Panel will submit recommendations within 18 months and it is likely to come into effect from 1st of January next year.
सबसे पहले बड़ा फैसला लिया गया 8th पे कमीशन को आज माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने अप्रूव किया। 8th पे कमीशन का कॉम्पोजिशन और उसमें क्या टर्म्स ऑफ रेफरेंस रहेंगे, कितना टाइम पीरियड रहेगा, वो सारा आज अप्रूवल हुआ और ये बहुत बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण फैसला है। आपको पता है कि अभी हाल ही में जनवरी में ही इन प्रिंसिपल अप्रूवल हुआ था कि किस तरह से 8th पे कमीशन का फॉर्मेशन किया जाए और इतने कम समय में 8 सेंट्रल पे कमीशन का गठन भी कर दिया गया।
And the Indian Navy, in partnership with the National Maritime Foundation, is hosting the Indo-Pacific Regional Dialogue IPRD 2025 from Tuesday to Thursday at the Manekshaw Centre in New Delhi. IPRD 2025, themed promoting holistic maritime security and growth, regional capacity building and capability enhancement, is the Indian Navy's flagship international outreach aligned with India's Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative. And Mahasagar Vision, now in its 7th edition, the dialogue brings together 42 speakers from 23 countries to address climate security, blue economy, supply chains and regional cooperation, focusing on actionable outcomes and stronger collaboration among governments, international bodies, academia, industry and civil society for a secure and sustainable Indo-Pacific. And DD India correspondent Vishal Barristow caught up with the Deputy Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Tarun Sopti, at the India-Pacific Regional Dialogue in Delhi. Take a listen.
This is the 7th edition of IRPD and I have with me the Deputy Chief of the Indian Navy. Let's talk to him and find out Admiral Tarun Sopti. Sir, this is the 7th edition and too much focus on Indo-Pacific region. What are the growing challenges and why so much focus on this region?
Indo-Pacific is a very large region. Actually, it encompasses the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. Starts from the east coast of Africa, continues all the way till the west coast of the Americas. It's a massive area, but it's interconnected because while lands are separate, continents are separate, the oceans connect, and this becomes for us a single space. The importance of it is because of a lot of activity at sea. Bulk of the trade is carried over sea.
So there is a lot of focus on self-reliance. Recently, India has also gone up to Korea to have its first bilateral with Korea. So in the seas, what can you talk about Indian Navy and the self-reliance?
The Indian Navy has a vision that by 2047 we will be completely self-reliant as far as the hardware and equipment that we have. We are already well on this way. We have some equipment which is still imported, and we have a plan of action for making sure that before 2047 everything is being manufactured and made in India. So that is as far as the self-reliance is concerned. There are challenges that are there in terms of technology availability and technology absorption. So when you briefly mentioned Korea, I would just like to mention that in shipbuilding sector, Korea is very, very advanced, and therefore some of the shipyards in India are collaborating with Korean shipyards to enhance the shipbuilding capacity. So the Indian Navy, of course, is looking at self-reliance on one hand, but on the other hand, it also cooperates and operates with several other navies in terms of learning best practices and being able to set up a mechanism through which we can have operational coordination, and we do it with many countries.
So there you heard the Deputy Chief of Indian Navy. He is quite optimistic that Indian Navy would be a developed Navy by 2047 and also upholds the vision of world is a family. With cameraman SP Dubey in Delhi, this is Vishal Barristow for DD India.
Sri Lanka's opposition forces are coming together for a show of strength, Several opposition parties have announced a joint campaign against the government, kicking off with a mass rally in Nugegoda on November 21st. Launched under the banner Mahajan Handa or People's Voice, the initiative aims to mobilize public support against what these parties allege are the government's lies and corruption. Representatives from multiple political outfits attended the announcement. However, no member of the main opposition, the Samagi Jan Balvegya, was present at the launch. US President Donald Trump and Japan Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi on Tuesday signed a framework agreement for securing the supply of critical minerals and rare earths through mining and processing. The countries plan to cooperate through use of economic policy tools and coordinated investment to accelerate development of diversified, liquid and fair markets for critical minerals and rare earths. Trump praised Takaichi's elevation as the country's first female leader and a pledge to accelerate a military build-up. A similar close relationship with the leader of Japan's key security and trade partner could help Takaichi bolster her political position at home. Takaichi in turn also expressed a desire to realize the new golden age of Japan-US alliance with Trump. Trump said that Washington is an ally of the strongest level.
We are an ally at the strongest level, and it's a great honor to be with you, especially so early in what will be, I think, one of the greatest prime ministers.
Trump also met with families of Japanese abducted by North Korea decades ago and said the US is with them all the way as they ask for help to find their loved ones. Trump is due to deliver a speech on Tuesday on the USS George Washington aircraft carrier docked at the US naval base Yokosuka. He will also have dinner with business leaders, likely including the chairman of car maker Toyota. This comes as Trump, on the second leg of his Asia tour, met with Takaichi. The talks focused on trade and security a week after a hardline conservative became Japan's first female leader and vowed to accelerate a military build-up. Trump arrived in Tokyo on Monday for a visit sandwiched between a trip to Malaysia and a meeting in South Korea with Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping that could ease the bruising trade war between the world's two biggest economies, sparked by sweeping US tariffs. The car industry accounts for around 8% of jobs in Japan. Most Japanese imports into the United States are subject to tariffs of 15%, less painful than the 25% first threatened, but still contributing to a 24% slump in US-bound car exports in September in value terms year on year. Now, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said on Tuesday that Russia cannot assess the peace negotiations with Ukraine because Kiev has put them on hold and is unwilling to answer questions posed by Russia. The Kremlin also said that Russian troops were constantly hearing foreign languages spoken by those fighting for Ukraine on the front line and promised that such fighters would be destroyed.
We are currently unable to assess the prospect for resuming the negotiation process because, as we have stated repeatedly, the current pause is due to Kyiv regime's reluctance to continue the negotiation process and its unwillingness to respond to the questions we ask, the draft documents we presented, and the proposals for further working formats within various groups. All of this has remained unanswered. Regarding the information from the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service about French troops in Ukraine, it is alarming. Although, on the other hand, our military constantly listens to foreign speech and foreign languages on radios along the line of contact, meaning these foreigners are there and we are eliminating them. Our military will continue to do their job.
Now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu arrived in court on Tuesday to testify in his ongoing corruption trial. Although there is no ruling, Netanyahu was indicted in 2019 in 3 cases, one of which includes receiving almost 700,000 shekels in gifts from businessmen. Netanyahu's long-running trial began in 2020 and has been interrupted frequently during 2 years of war and Middle East upheaval. The Prime Minister has pleaded not guilty and denied any wrongdoing. Now, Israel said on Tuesday that a set of partial hostage remains returned by Hamas on Monday under a ceasefire deal. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office said that after completing the identification process, it was found that last night remains belonging to the fallen hostage Ofer Zarfati, who had been returned from the Gaza Strip in a military operation about 2 years ago, were returned. Netanyahu's office said that this constitutes a clear violation of the agreement by Hamas and that Netanyahu would meet with heads of the defense establishment, during which Israel's steps in response to the violations will be discussed. All right, still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Amazon to cut 14,000 jobs globally effective today. Delhi conducts first cloud seeding to combat air pollution. Artificial rain likely soon. And India's ODI vice captain Shreyas Iyer's condition stable, moved out of the intensive care unit.
Can the US launch a bombing campaign against Iran? The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse is the United States China's debt trap strategy. Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you. We read between the lines, cut the clutter and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. In Kenya, a small plane operated by Mombasa Air Safari crashed on Tuesday morning, killing all 11 people on board, including foreign passengers. The aircraft was en route to Quechua Tembo from the tourist hotspot of Diani when it came down at around 5:30 a.m. local time. Mombasa Air Safari chairman confirmed the accident and said there were 10 passengers, including 8 Hungarians, 2 Germans. The Kenya Civil Aviation Authority said the government agencies were already on site to establish the cause of the accident. Thousands of people in Vietnam were evacuated from their homes after record rainfall of more than 1 meter in 24 hours submerged a central city. Pedestrians wearing rain ponchos waded through knee-high and for some waist-high floodwaters in the city of Hue, with others piloting small motorboats down the flooded streets. 3 measuring stations in Hue recorded rainfall from 1 meter to 1.7 meters in a 24-hour period. Heavy rain has inundated Vietnam's central coastal region since the weekend, closing schools and flooding the former imperial city of Hue. Now, Hurricane Melissa is barreling toward Jamaica as a catastrophic Category 5 storm, threatening to become the worst hurricane to hit the island this century. Packing wind gusts exceeding 300 kilometers per hour, Melissa is set to unleash widespread devastation. Authorities have ordered mandatory evacuations as the hurricane nears landfall. The island is bracing for storm surges up to 4 meters, along with flash floods and landslides. Rainfall is forecast to exceed 70 centimeters, nearly double Jamaica's total for an average rainy season. The U.S. National Hurricane Center expects Melissa to hit Jamaica early Tuesday before tracking across eastern Cuba and then moving over the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos by Wednesday. As Cyclone Monta intensifies over the west-central Bay of Bengal, the National Disaster Response Force is on high alert. 22 NDRF teams have been pre-deployed across vulnerable coastal regions. Out of 22 teams, 10 have been deployed in Andhra Pradesh, 6 in Odisha, 3 in Tamil Nadu, 2 in Chhattisgarh and 1 in Puducherry. Another 20 teams remain on standby for rapid deployment. The cyclone has strengthened into a severe cyclonic storm and is expected to make landfall along the Andhra Pradesh coast between Machilipatnam and Kalingapatnam near Kakinada late Tuesday evening or night. In Odisha, Chief Minister Mohan Charan Maji reviewed preparedness in a high-level meeting in Bhubaneswar. Several coastal areas southern Odisha have already reported heavy rainfall ahead of the cyclone's landfall. Chennai also received showers this morning. The IMD has forecast moderate rain with light thunderstorms and lightning at a few places in Tamil Nadu through the day. Now, Railways, Communications and Electronics and Information Technology Minister Ashwini Vaishnav held a review meeting on Cyclone Montha preparedness with senior officials of East Coast Railway and South Central Railway on Tuesday. The meeting was conducted through video conferencing to assess the readiness of the railway network in view of the impending cyclonic storm along the east coast. The minister reviewed the measures being undertaken for passenger safety, train regulation, restoration planning and coordination with local administrations and disaster management agencies. Ashwini Vaishnav emphasized the importance of ensuring passenger safety, maintaining uninterrupted communication channels and deploying disaster response teams in advance. He directed all railway zones to remain on high alert and to take proactive steps for quick restoration of train services post-cyclone impact. Following the meeting, Indian Railways has activated all divisional war rooms and placed the necessary materials, machinery and manpower on standby in Vijayawada, Visakhapatnam and Guntur divisions. Train operations are being continuously monitored to ensure minimum inconvenience to passengers. Meanwhile, East Coast Railway, South Central Railway and South Coast Railway zones have been directed to mobilize resources for emergency response and safety measures. Now, in an attempt to fight increasing air pollution, Delhi government carried out an artificial rain operation on Tuesday covering an area of roughly 25 nautical miles in length and 4 nautical miles in width. The first round involved 6 flares released at an altitude of nearly 4,000 feet above ground level with a burn duration of 18.5 minutes. A second flight took off at 3:55 p.m., deploying 8 flares at a higher altitude of around 5,000 to 6,000 feet. The official said the cloud seeding process, which took place in Buradi, Mayur Vihar and Karol Bagh, has concluded for now. This is in line with Delhi government's broader strategy to mitigate deteriorating air quality during the winter months. The project, led by the Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur, saw a Cessna 206H aircraft take off from the institute's airstrip for the artificial rain trial. Delhi Environment Minister Manjinder Singh Sirsa said that the trial lasted for half an hour and rain could happen within 15 minutes to 4 hours after the experiment. Over 9 such trials have been planned over the next few days. Triggering strong backlash, Amazon has decided to slash nearly 14,000 corporate jobs in beginning Tuesday. Amazon's corporate workforce includes roughly 350,000 employees. The job cuts expected to impact divisions of human resources, people experience and technology, devices and services and operations. The cuts come amid a broader push by CEO Andy Jassy to streamline operations, remove bureaucracy and make greater use of artificial intelligence and automation. Termed to be one of the biggest layoffs after 2022, when the retail giant cut some 27,000 jobs, it has stirred significant unease in the corporate world. Sports updates now. We'll start with cricket. India's ODI vice-captain Shreyas Iyer, who suffered a ruptured spleen and rib cage injury during the third ODI against Australia, continues to recover at Sydney Hospital after being moved out of the intensive care unit. India's T20I skipper Surya Kumar Yadav provided an update on Shreyas' recovery, revealing that he is stable and has been responding to messages over the phone. The development has eased widespread concern over the 29-year-old batter's condition, which had briefly turned critical following internal bleeding. Shreyas has been shifted out of the ICU, but it may take a few more days before he is discharged from the hospital. Iyer sustained the injury while attempting a difficult running catch to dismiss Alex Carey in the third India versus Australia game at the SCG. Now, Italy is entering the final stretch of preparations for the Milano Cortina 2026 Winter Olympics, with the symbolic 100-day milestone falling on Wednesday. The 100-day milestone before the Olympics is a significant marker for the host city and organizers, indicating the final sprint of preparations. Milan is co-hosting the Games with the town of Cortina d'Ampezzo, which will be held from February 6 to 22nd, 2026. For the first time in Winter Olympics history, the opening ceremony will be held in 2 locations. The Games will welcome more than 3,500 athletes from 93 countries, competing for 195 medals in 16 Olympic disciplines. The Olympic torch relay is scheduled to start on 26 November 2025 in Olympia, Greece, and conclude on February 6, 2026 in Milan, Italy. Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.